Hey Skong gang, my name is Primacon. Welcome to an old-fashioned Silksong commentary video. I haven't made one of those in 10 years, huh? There's been something I've been thinking about pretty much ever since I started playing this game, and now that I've finished it, I feel like it's the perfect time for me to talk about it. Because mainly I didn't want to give strong opinions about the game before I beat it. Because I feel like that's only fair. And coming to the point, what I'm talking about is Silksong bosses, a lot of them, not giving you any reward for beating them. It feels so weird ever since I started playing the game, and at first I thought maybe I'm fucking delusional, and then I went back and watched a bunch of Hollow Knight Let's Plays from some of my favorite YouTubers, and I was like, nope, I'm right, I'm not crazy.
Are you sure about that?
Every single boss in Hollow Knight gave you a reward. Whereas in Silksong, a lot of the times, the reward for beating the boss is just clearing an inconvenience in front of you or opening up a gate, basically game progression, which is not the same as boss rewards. And the best example is literally the very first boss of both Hollow Knight and Silksong. Hollow Knight actually opens up quite broader than Silksong, as in you can actually fight a bunch of bosses as your first boss. Like you can fight the Brooding Moloch, you can fight Mother, you can fight False Knight. But ideally, Team Cherry wants you to fight False Knight as your first boss, and that's where most people will go to. When you beat False Knight, you get a city crest, which is nice and mysterious. You don't know where it goes. It's pretty cool. Ooh, where does this fit, right? Because it says in the description it fits a slot, gives you a long-term goal, and then it gives you a chest full of Geo. You just feel good beating that boss. And that logic can be applied to any other bosses as well. If you beat Brooding Moloch as your first boss, you get a Mask Shard. If you beat Mother as your first boss, she explodes into Geo. In Silksong, what happens when you beat Moss Mother? Easy game! Xenodance! I thought this game was supposed to be hard, but the only thing that's hard is Primacon right now. Fucking nothing. It just opens up a gate that closes in front of you and you progress the game. It doesn't even go as low as giving you some shell shards, which like makes no sense because why is she not exploding into shell shards, right? And this is a feeling I felt so often playing Silksong, and I just couldn't shake it away, and I always lodged it at the back of my head as something that I want to talk about once I beat the game. And what got me talking about it right now is actually I was having a discussion with one of my friends. He made a YouTube video essay about Silksong, and again, one of his criticisms was this exact thing: bosses not giving rewards. And this fandom is just so incapable of acknowledging anything wrong with Silksong. Like, people left comments like this pointing out, oh, actually all the bosses gives you reward, and so many of them are just gate progression. In fact, the smallest of bosses this person compiled to make their point, 9 of them, the reward is just game progression, which is not the kind of reward I'm talking about. And I don't even have to look outwards to a different game like Dark Souls. Imagine you beat such a hard boss in Dark Souls 3 and all you get in return is the gate opens, and then you just, that's it. You don't get any boss souls, you don't get a boss weapon, you don't get a new fucking magic spell, nothing. Dude, if Elden Ring did that, I would have quit that shit like 10 hours in, because that game was hard as fuck. And one thing you felt super accomplished taking down a big boss is getting that big reward. But like I said, I do not need to look outwards for that comparison. Hollow Knight is the best example. Every single boss in Hollow Knight either explodes into Geo, gives you a key item, gives you mask shards or progression, or if it's dream bosses, they give you essence, which lets you skip fucking farming the essence balls. If you don't like touching balls, it gives you a lot of options. The only time it doesn't give you a reward for beating a boss is obviously the final boss, which ends the game. Makes sense. But even as you beat Grim, for example, while doing his quest of collecting the flames, he gives you rewards for every time you make progress in his quest. I don't understand why Team Cherry couldn't do the bare minimum of giving just some basic shell shards for beating these bosses, where the price is just game progression. I mean, I was bitching about lack of shell shards all game, and I feel like there were so many more opportunities for Team Cherry to give shell shards. Again, there are criticisms I have of this game, and they're way more fun to talk about, in my opinion, than just sitting here and glazing this game for the masterpiece that it is for like 2 hours straight, because that's been done to that. It's no secret this game is a fucking masterpiece. A lot of people are saying Hades 2 is gonna beat Silksong for Game of the Year, at least in the indie category. Dude, if that happens, I'm gonna throw a fit. I want my boy Skong to win. And I want to tell you guys, it's okay to put your frustration frustrations about the game out. You don't have to either love everything about it or hate everything about it. It can be nuanced, and actually I want to hear about you. I want to hear things that you've just found bothersome about the game in the comments. Was it shell shards? Was it boss rewards? Was it pacing? Which again, I wouldn't agree with. I think Silksong is a much better paced game than Hollow Knight ever could hope to be. But opinions are subjective, and I want to hear yours. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rant about this, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Primacon signing out.